Baby Saja time. Let's go. I've drawn in demon form. We're going to go human, standard human form from Soda Pop. So let's give this a go. Kind of viewed from the side, kind of profile view with the, doing this kind of drinking the Soda Pop. So I'm on a landscape page. Use a pencil, use an eraser, hit pause if I go too fast. I'm going to start with his eye, and we can only really see one eye. So it makes it a little bit easier, I think. So let us go. Center point of my page is about there. I'm coming up just above halfway, and I'm going to start with the top eyelid line. So we'll just go across, and he has fairly narrow eyes in this one, right? And it's kind of like eyelash, few eyelashes here in the back corner. You could put eyelashes everywhere, but it's probably a bit harder to draw if you do that. So we'll just maybe keep it to the end. So that's his top eyelid line, okay? Diagonal because the head is tilted. And then the bottom one going this way. It's like the corner first, and then it changes its direction and goes in towards his tear duct. And again, the eyes are pretty thin in this Baby Saja drawing, okay? You can darken up the top eyelids sort of as much as you'd like. It's not too dark in the actual movie, but sometimes drawing it, making it look darker makes it look a bit cooler. Eye, colorful iris. It's kind of turquoise, like a greeny blue color. So you just draw a kind of a dash there. And then he's kind of looking to the right, so there's more, you can see more of the white of his eye on this side than this side. And they're fairly big eyes, they're not like small in there. And then the black pupil, like so. You just color that dark. If you want to leave a highlight, you can, or you can do a white dab of paint on top afterwards. There's lots of different ways of doing it. So one way is to just leave a little bit white like that, which is probably the easiest way. Second way, take a bit of that stuff, dab it on top. So it's up to you, really. Right, so eyelid line, just kind of where his eyeshadow is, really. Just coming across here. Just a little bit of a suggestion for his eyelid. And we can't see his eyebrow because it's underneath his hair. So again, easier for us. So we're just going to go, say, across from his eye, horizontally a little bit. And we're going to do his nose. And it's just like a curvy, small nose. So it curves up because his head is tilted back. Okay, so it curves that way. And then it curves down towards his nostril. So it's like the front of his nose kind of goes this way. And you can see like a shadow for his kind of the whole of his nose, the nostril itself there. And then the skin of it on this side, that piece of flesh that sticks out there. And then his nostril over here, kind of just a little sort of V that way. And then the skin of that on this side. Right. And that's all you have to draw for his nose. So we'll go down and do, so his lips, right, his mouth. So you can do he's smiling a bit, so we can do the line where the lips join together, right? So it kind of curves up and down, right? And this side of his mouth is long, like that. And then the top lip, So we might as well draw it in because they all have fairly clear lips in the movie. So his top lip kind of just round like that, and then the bottom lip sort of curving up and down because his head is tilted back, kind of like that, right? Then we got a little line for his chin underneath, just like a little hatching sort of shadow underneath the bottom lip for where his chin is. So his face shape, we can kind of see, say you can see maybe a little bit of eyelash coming out here, right, for his other eye. You know, but it's just black sort of shadow because of this top eyelash just sticks out. Right, and then coming out from the nose, then we start to get his cheek. So this is like his face, right? So kind of the face shape curves out. And down towards the chin. And he has a sort of a round baby face, obviously. Baby Saja. So it just goes this way. And maybe you might get a little bit of his chin here. But this kind of joins his neck, you know? So you get like a change of direction sort of there. That's a bit tricky now to get that shape. So take your time. And this line, like, eventually comes down and joins the skin of his neck, because we're looking up at him and he's looking down at us. So it kind of curves that way. And then he has like a bit of a jawbone, right? But it goes, say, we have a light sort of chin line. And it's a bit of a broken line because it's not like a clear line. It's kind of shadowy, but we do need to draw it in just so we know where his jaw is. So it kind of goes that way, and then that's like his neck all in there, you know. Tricky to draw sort of a head in that position. So the back of his head and neck is just like here, right? So we might as well finish the neck while we're on this part of the page. So we'll go down for the neck here. Curving down that way, right? And then the front here. Right, so we do maybe his hair and his ear and all that kind of stuff. So just above his jaw, right? His earlobe will be here. And above the jaw, we get a sideburn. So that's like his hair, a little V. Kind of across from his nose, that line. And then his ear comes out, up. And this will like disappear underneath his hair somewhere. So we get ear lines. So little sort of bumps and stuff for the lines that humans have inside ears. So this kind of thing. His ear just goes underneath his hair. So get on with some of that hair. So we just do lots of hair spikes, really. Like lots of this kind of short, but loose sort of hair spikes. Okay, and it kind of comes all across his forehead as well. So and it's kind of messy, you know. When I say messy, I mean like some of the spikes go in different directions. Like here. Maybe like a big one here. All goes underneath a hat up that side. So we just keep adding them. Lots of different ways of doing this now. And remember, hair moves, so you don't have to do it like exactly the same way I'm doing it. This one maybe goes behind his nose a little bit, so we'll just stop it there. The one on top of that. And we'll add some more just in here because we can't see his eyebrow here at all, so we'll just fill it all in. Right, and we can actually see his sort of his eyelid here as well. Kind of like the skin of his eye, sort of looking down there. And maybe some of his forehead. Do 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 do. And then the rest of the hair then. All going this way. And it'll eventually kind of bump around here. All kind of goes underneath a hat. And we'll add some texture to it as well, I think, just to make it look a bit hairier. It's funny, twice I've drawn Baby Saja and he's like always in this pose, this head pose, like in the demon form as well. It's interesting. I wonder if that's like an intentional thing by the K-pop animators. It's just I remember drawing the hair sort of exactly like this before, and it's underneath his demon hat rather than his yellow hat thing. I'm just adding texture now to all these. There's lots of different ways of doing it. You're just following like each sort of curvy hair spike and adding some sort of lighter lines a little bit inside. You could just do it with color as well if you wanted, like, you know, darker blues and lighter blues. Sometimes these lines help just give it a texture other than skin, you know, changes. Okay, so there's like more sort of hair here. You might hear rain in the background. It's raining pretty heavy. Some texture just for hair in there as well. Yeah, okay, so we'll try and get that hat in now. So it's fairly bumpy and it kind of starts where here. Boop. And it kind of bumps around, kind of like his hair. And so it's got like a bumpy style to it or something. Yeah, we'll just keep going with this. And there's a couple of round sections, so this like just curves all the way around his head. We have like a bit of an edge line to it. And then there's like a cap, like a peak to the front of the cap or something. Here. And we have a little daisy or a flower or something in here. Just like a cartoon flower, like. Yeah, I think that's it for his head. Right, so we could get like a neck muscle here, usually. And then he's got like a shirt collar that comes over his jumper. We call them jumpers in Ireland. Where's my jumper? Of course, most other countries call them sweaters, I think. Collar here. And then there's like his shirt and a button. And then this kind of fluffy sort of sweater, jumper. So it's kind of textured a little bit, you know. Get some lines on it. Just like little textures. And then like furry shoulder. Comes down here. Make his chest. Okay, you could finish the shoulder and that'd be your baby Saja. If you wanted, you could just finish the shoulder down there and you're done. But if you want to add, you know, the hand, this is how we do that. So he's got like 3 knuckles. 1, 2, 3. Each of these becomes a finger. So we go down, 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 like so. And then you turn the corner for his knuckle there, knuckle there, knuckle there. And then the tip of the finger, like that. Well, they're kind of curved over knuckles. And then the side of that there. And then, so that's his index, middle finger, ring finger. So you just need his thumb and his pinky, which are going out, you know, so the pop, making that motion. So the thumb is here. It's kind of a Y, letter Y there. And then the thumb comes out from the long part. Down. Down to there. It's kind of 3D modeling hands, you know, they're not overly textured or anything. They're very smooth. And his pinky's like coming out this way. So it kind of goes up, maybe to a knuckle, knuckle there. It's kind of coming out towards us, so it's kind of shortened a bit. Coming out this way. A bit bumpy on the top because of the knuckles on your small finger. And then you have 3 sort of round segments. And this kind of joins the skin of his hand down there, and maybe there's a fingernail like a little bit just on top. Right, and then his fuzzy sweater sleeve, right, just comes around this way. And just add a bit of texture to it if you wanted. Or you could do it smooth. It doesn't have, you don't have to do it like completely furry. And then the top. And part of the sleeve just coming around here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to draw baby Saja in his human form. Hope it's helpful. Hope the rain wasn't too loud in the background. Might be able to edit it out. We'll see. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.